Hello, Thomas. Welcome back to Sha Tin. We gave everybody a little bit of Christmas Eve presents last week, so let's see if we can ring in the new year with some with cash register ringing out at Sha Tin. What do you think?
I'm hopeful. They always traditionally have a New Year's Day card, which for us is New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day.
Yeah, I suppose it sort of is New Year's Day, but it's not New Year's Day because it's still Saturday. It's tomorrow night, right? From tomorrow night into Sunday morning, right? Or no, Sunday morning, right? Saturday night into. I get so confused when that calendar laps over like that. I mean, I can't imagine how if I flew over there, how I would get jet lagged because I wouldn't even know what day it was by the time I got home.
Well, it's 13 hours. And what you do is just stay up. And you get there, if you leave at noon, you get there at 4 p.m. there. And
on the same day or the next day?
Next day. And then you just go to sleep. And then you're fine. That's what I did when I flew there.
How about when you come home?
That's trickier.
Yeah, I'm not worried about being there because you got the adrenaline and you have a new place. Let's go here, let's go there. It's kind of like going to Vegas where they pump the oxygen into the casinos and you're never tired. But when you come home,
subliminal messages.
Yes, gamble. Yeah. You can lose all your money. It doesn't matter. All right, so the races are not tonight into tomorrow, but tomorrow night into Sunday then.
Right.
So after all of the college football games are done and we know who's going to play in a championship game, and it looks like to me the weather there is going to be kind of overcast. So that would be their Sunday then, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a little bit of overcast. Right now, as of this moment, the track at Sha Tin is listed good. I don't really see any rain, just overcast. So I'd imagine it would stay the same.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Yeah,
So
this time of year, they don't get a lot of rain. It's usually pretty much mid 60s, 50s, and sunny for the most part. I mean, obviously not all the time, but the racing is usually pretty even, and we've got some tough races here. So let's get started.
Yes, and we're going to start off in race number 7, the Cherry Handicap. The Cherry Handicap will go off at 2:35 a.m. Eastern, not tonight, but tomorrow morning. I think we've gone over that enough. All right, so this one is this one's going to be how long is this one going to be? This one's going to be 1,200 meters. So 6 furlongs, indeed, yes. I finally kind of worked that math out after all this time. So 6 furlongs on that Sha Tin, and they're all turf races. There aren't any all-weather races like last week. We had one all-weather race. I think they're all turf this time around. They're going to start here. They're going to come all the way around this track, and they're going to come and wiggle their way home, Tom. And looked to me like last week we caught a little bit of mid-pack runners seemed like they did all right.
Yeah, seemed to do very well, actually. The front runners were giving it up pretty quickly, I thought, when they hit the top of the stretch. And I did play a couple of front runners in these races, but one, when we get to it, I'll tell you why.
All right, well, we'll get there. Let's take a look at what the speed looks like for this first race. Looks like everybody's going to be kind of forwardly placed. Ya Kaying Master and Ping Hai Galaxy going to lead the way, but they're going to have plenty of company from this 6 horses right behind there, 2 horses that can come from off the back. So if this group of 8 decides to go way too fast, could open up the door for Power Cup and Grateful Heart. Tom, you got either one of those 2 with you in your picks? Or you got here?
I did. I took number 10. Power Cup is my first choice. We're going to break from number 5. He's run decent races. He got a second at 1,000 meters and a 6th at 1,200. And that race, he had some issues about 700 meters left to go. So, but the thing there was he made progress. So with problems, he still went forward. November race, he won at Happy Valley at this distance and won by half a length. But he beat a little lesser horses than this bunch. This was an 80-60 race. Since he switched over to Sha Tin, he's done well overall, and I like the fact that Sylvester de Souza will continue to ride. Good jockey, good English guy. Mainly did a lot of riding in England for many years, and now trying his chances over there, and he's been doing okay. Number 2, Trillion Wind is going to be my next choice. It's going to bite from number 7. Going the last race, he prepped with 2 barrier trials, but they were 3 months prior to the race. Which
I think your egg is done.
Yeah, well, that's my daughter. I thought that was really curious. In the last race, he was taking bat, 300 meters to go left. He moved forward. He got steadied close to the finish line when another horse shifted into him. So the jockey, of course, got questioned about that one, and it looks like, from what I saw in the replay, was he didn't have any real opportunity to get out of the way. So I'm gonna give him a little slack on that race. Distances again, he's in that same realm as these other horses at 1,000 to 1,200. He appears to be a back of the pack horse. So, but I see more mid pack in my opinion. And I also like the fact that he does have a win from 4 starts being second up, and he has a placing there too. So I put him for a placing in this race, and if he wins, I wouldn't be hugely surprised. Number 7, Banyan Galaxy is going to be my final choice. Going to break from number 6. He's coming off a win at 1,000 meters. He beat some of these horses and by half a length. It really was a solid race for him because he sat 4th, 300 to go. He makes the move to the lead, and initially I thought it was a little premature when I watched the race, but he held off the runner-up, so I did what he had to do to win. And that's always a gutsy thing to see out of any horse in my mind. When they get challenged, what are they going to do? Fold or keep going forward?
I like when they have fight too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that previous start, Happy Valley, ran a second, going 1,200 meters. And then the other races, he was 4th and 3rd. So there's definitely form in this horse in my mind. It's interesting, though, he finally broke his maiden at Sha Tin, if you want to call it that, after 7 tries. He's done much better over at Happy Valley than here. But he has won now. And again, the form seems to be there. So we'll see.
I like the form of number 5, Oriental Smoke. Kind of hard to argue with the horse that's run 5 times at the distance, won 4 of them, came home second in the other. And then if the track indeed does stay good, 12 races, it has 4 wins, 3 seconds, and 4 thirds. Quick math, even for the confused like me, it says that's 11 out of 12. Number 8, and which is interesting to me. Last week we started off, we didn't agree on anything, and this week we're starting off and not agreeing on anything. Bazinga. I really wanted to put this horse first, but I ended up putting it second because it's been off since June. I think like June the 5th, somewhere in there. Yeah. The workouts are getting better as it head into the track, but just wasn't so convinced about that first off record. I do think if the horse puts in a good effort, could win this race. Number 9 is my 3rd choice, Rock Ya Heart. And that one is improved in that last race pretty sharply. I like to see when horses improve from race to race. And I think you're going to see continued improvement for Rock Ya Heart on this particular spot. And then finally, number 1, Winning Dreamer. It's the 4th choice for me. It's a horse that does have a lot of back class. Hasn't been showing much class of late, although that last barrier trial hints at a horse that might be ready to rebound. So I'm putting him in there as a little bit of a price and see what he can bring to the table for us.
Did you in this race, did you note the weight differences on these horses?
I was looking through a little bit of that
135 and the bottom weight is 117.
Oof,
that's
18
a
pounds.
Big swing.
Yeah, indeed, for sure. Let's see where
I factored that in my handicapping because I just thought, Winning Dream is definitely the class of the field, but carrying all that weight and has not done it very well in the past. I had a hard time putting him on top.
That's why I put him 4th.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like I said, it doesn't look like he's in form to me. Like recent form's been bad. The back class is there, but that workout.
He definitely needs a drop.
Yeah, that recent workout was what kind of got me to take a look at it maybe. All right, race number 8 is next up on our list. This one is the Chinese Club Challenge Handicap. This one is 1,400 meters on the turf course. So they're going to come back here. Got plenty of room to figure out where they want to go, get position, coming into the turn, coming out of the turn. Like you mentioned, Tom, it looked to me like the horses that were able to gather momentum coming out of the turn were the ones that were able to win last week. I don't know that that'll carry over to another week later, but that's what worked last week. And if we take a look at the speed for this particular race, well, there's not a whole lot of horses in here, huh?
No, there's some that haven't started.
So, yeah. So based upon what has run.
This is a small field. This is a group 3. So these are a little better horses.
No, Healthy Happy should get that lead on its own. Reliable Leader should get up a slow pace in the small field. Beauty Joy can move positive from the inside draw and trail. And Lucky Swaney's, who I think is going to be the big favorite in this race, could be the one that everybody's got to beat. I'm going to try to beat that horse, Lucky Swaney's. What about you?
I am too. I'm going to take the speed. I took number 4, Healthy Happy, with post 6. I mean, he is the speed in this race, and he's done it in some decent company too. So in November, he ran this distance, there was a fair pace, and he got beat in the straight, made it to 6th, and Beluga won that race, who was a horse that you had that day. Prep for this one, 2 barrier trials. He's 1,000 meters and 1,200 meters. He was second in one of the running on the front end on both these races, and then he won the other one. Comment was interesting on the 1,200 meter race. He said it was an evenly paced horse. So they must have been looking to get something out of him, but not push him too hard. I definitely a fair pace. He's won over the course. He's won at this distance. He's definitely going to be right up there without question on the lead. The pressure is going to be the issue in what they do at the end. I just think he's got a good chance of holding on here against this bunch at this distance. Number 1, Beauty Joy from post 1 is going to be my second choice. I tried Group 1 company last out at a mile. And faced the horse by the name of California Spangle and Golden 60. It was a Group 1. Well, those are pretty good horses, but he ran 4th. So that's kind of a pretty good performance against that kind of bunch. With 300 meters left, he gave up the lead, and frankly, not surprised. He was 7th in a Group 2 before, 12,000 at not 12,000, 2,000 meters. And I don't think that distance really suits him. I think that's too far, and being 2 turns. I think he's got a good record at 1,400 meters, 5 starts. He's got 3 wins and a placing, and 2 of those wins were at Sha Tin. So with that, I think Group 3 seems to fit this horse, and at this level, in Group 3 races, he's got 3 starts, 2 wins, and a placing. So right spot. I think you got to look at the horse. Weight's a question, of course.
He's got a fat jockey on a skinny horse. It's a Chris Farley skit. Fat jockey, skinny horse. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the favorite also carries the same weight. So, they're both, I think, very talented pair. Finally, I'm going to take 5, Blaze Warrior is my final choice. Going to break for number 4. He's going to come into this race off average barrier trial races, but he did win his last race at the 105.80 level. So he's going to move up to a Group 3 company here. He's tried it before and failed. Only once, though. And the interesting thing about that last race he ran, he had issues in that race, and he still won. So I always like to see that. I think he's in form. And I think getting a little bit of weight gain may just be enough for him to hit the board. And that's the way I'm going to play him.
What's interesting to me is more than this scratch. I had that as my 4th pick. So I'm not allowed 4 picks in 6-horse races. So says Sean. But
Sean will get in hell for that.
Oh, yes. So 6 horses, and between you and me, we have 5 of them. So who's the one that we don't have? I'm wondering. That's probably the one you want to bet. Golden Scenery, the one neither one of us have. So that's the one you want to put at the top of your ticket for sure. In the meantime, I put Beauty Joy on the top of my ticket. Beauty Joy, fan of 7 furlongs, that kind of quirky distance. 5 times out, won 3 of them, second in the other. Again, looking at the race from race to race form, it looks like this horse is getting better to me. Lucky Swaney's, this horse is going to be your big favorite. It looks like it is the class of the field. The one concern I had and why I put Beauty Joy in front of it is the last race out, it did regress a little bit. And looking back at previous trends, the horse regresses. It tended to regress the next race too. So maybe Lucky Swaney's can run off the board, which would be good for Exactus Trifectas. Bless you. And then finally, the last pick I have is number 6, Fantastic Treasure. This guy looks to me like he's in good form and getting better. And he's run 7 times again at this weird distance of 7 furlongs, won 3 of them with the third mixed in there. So likes the distance, seems to be in good form. Between Tom and I, we have 5 out of 6. The horse that we kind of isolated and didn't pick, Golden Scenery, is your guaranteed winner, folks. You know what's funny is I say that, and when I go look at it in the morning, it'll be the winner.
Yeah.
So many times.
Amazing how that works, right?
Speak it right into existence, right? I can manifest that, but I can't manifest, $7 billion in my bank account. Sad. All right. The next race we're going to move off to is race number 8. Race number 9, excuse me. You just did number 8. Yes, this is the Cotton Tree Handicap. We're going back to 1,200 meters, so back to 600 furlongs. 6 furlongs. 600, boy, they'd be running for 10 weeks.
That's more of a hurdle race or over the fences.
So that's like, what is it, when they went from the east to the west, like the gold rush. So 1,200 meters, they're going to come from here, go back around again. We look like horses last week that kind of set off the pace, were able to come through that turn with momentum, managed to win. Our speed map in this race says that Reve Parisian should be the horse that Parisian, right? From someone from Paris. Should be the one that's on the front with California Concord and Point Day, right behind Publicis Global Harmony. So it doesn't look like there's a ton of early speed in here, Thomas. So you did mention there was one race that you're going to focus on some early speed. I'm going to put a guess on it that this might be it.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
read the map right.
Yeah, and with that, I took number 6. California Concord is my top choice. Going to break from number 3. I was raced once lately. It was an even effort. Finished 6th. It was at this level, and the comment on there was 1 pace. But since that race, it put in 2 barrier trials. They were both at 800 meters, and he won both of them. And did them in, I thought, quick times of 46 and 6 and 46 flat. I thought those were pretty quick.
Is that for 4 furlongs?
Yeah.
That's fast.
And ran, one race he ran on 1 pace. He had no cover and won that. And then he started first and finished well. Before the last race, he had that race, and then he had 2 barrier trials before that. He won both of them, and they were at 1,200 meters. So 2 races at 1,200 in barriers, and then a race, and then 2 more barriers. So why do I pick this horse? Well, one of the top trainers, Cruz, is using an apprentice with a 10-pound allowance in this race. So my feeling is going to send him to the lead and say, come and catch me. And with that weight advantage, that's certainly going to help.
Mm-hmm. Especially at the end.
Yeah. And, and I think breaking from post 3 only enhances its chances. And that's why I put it on top. My next choice is going to be BD Ethereal, number 6, going to break from. Like many of these horses in this field, as you may have noticed, these are lightly raced horses. This is a horse who's 4. He's raced, has 2 starts. He's got a win and a third. He prepped for this race with a winning effort in a barrier trial, and he made a wide move in that race, which I always like to see. And then the comment was comfortably winning. And this was on the all-weather. And he ran 3rd last out at 1,200, this class level. He did not make clear run. He didn't have clear running, especially at the end. But he was making progress. He just had some traffic issues, and that can cause you not to win. He won his first start at Sha Tin at 1,200. He won it by 2 lengths. And it was at a lower level. It was at the 60-40 level. So, the only issue I have with this one is he was scratched from a race recently because of lameness. So a little concern there, but with the barrier, maybe he's okay. And I also think that using the top jock of Zach Pruton is going to definitely say that the horse has to be in good shape, but why would he stay on him?
Mm-hmm.
Now, finally, I'm going to take a little bit of a price. And this one is number 9, Wonder Kit. It's going to break from number 7. Ran 6th last out after some what I would call very average barrier trials. But that was his first start in Hong Kong. He broke well, but didn't really have anything at the end. Kind of again that one pace looked, and I'm going to say he needed a race. Before coming to Hong Kong, he won at Gold Coast at 1,200 meters by a length in a Class 1 level race. I think the effort first time out was good enough for me to put him in for a placing here. And win, I'm going to wait and see on that one because I think he may need another race before he really wins. But I really think that he's got a good chance in here. And I think that if he builds off that last race, it could be very interesting.
I do have him in my picks too. We have a little bit of agreement here. I'm going to start with Beauty Eternal as a top pick. This one looks to me like it caught a pretty easy field, to be honest with you, Thomas. As I looked at this horse relative to all the other ones, I felt like it was a standout. So I might put a circle around that one and single it. The next one for me was number 9, the one that.
Again, my issue was the lameness, the being scratched, and there was. Yeah, it just made me a little nervous.
Well, if he's all right, I felt like he did catch a softer field here than he's been facing. Number 9, Wonder Kit, the same one that you like. Distance time, 3 times out, 2 wins, which is his strongest performance at any particular distance. My only concern with that was both of those were on a heavy track. There is some clouds in the area, so I'm kind of hoping like Eeyore, it rains before that race, and then the horse gets a little bit softer footing and then goes on. But otherwise, that softer footing versus the firm footing is a little bit of concern. So we'll see on that. Number 3 is where Tom and I start to part. I have Endpoint as my third choice in here. This time, the horse was on the upswing. If you look at its past performances, the 3 races before it had to bench, each one improved. Then it had a nice little maintenance workout in between. So I expect more improvement. The horse hits the track again today. And then finally, if this one gets in, he's not in right now, but if it does get in, the standby starter, Lord Thunder, otherwise known as Thor. This guy is an all-or-nothing horse, and quite frankly, I feel like if he gets in, he has a pretty good shot against all of these because, as I mentioned, it looked to me like it's a pretty soft field relative to everybody but Beauty Eternal, all of which seem to be about the same to me. So no scratches yet, but if it does get in, it is one that I would consider adding to your tickets. Next up, Thomas, is race number 10. This one is the Chinese Banyan Handicap. This one's a sprint, 1,000 meters. I think about 5 furlongs, that is, on the turf course. And this one is just going to go straight. I don't recall seeing a straight one there before, Tom, when we've watched these. So this one's going to kick off at approximately, the last one at 9 will be at 3:35 a.m. Race 10 at 4:10 a.m. Eastern. So if you're up, it's going to be a sprint. Do these straight races favor speed, or what have you seen?
I generally speed. I like them personally. In this 1,000-meter type races, I want them within the first 6 placings.
So early up front.
Yeah, more towards the front than the rear. Occasionally you see one close, but generally you can see they're pretty much clumped in terms of the speed ratings here.
And what they did is they reversed this on me. I almost was wait a minute.
Because we're going down the straight.
Yes. Wow. I was like, wait a minute. Why are the horses backwards? They're going to run backwards in this race? Well, Valiant Elegance will run forward, and it will be joined by Metro Warrior according to their speed chart. But it looks like there's going to be plenty of company, a lot of pressure on that lead. So you better be the speed of the speed if you're going to be fast to take that home. Otherwise, I'd look for a horse to come from right, maybe in this group right here, like you said, the first 6 to go on by at the end. who is going to go on by at the end for you?
Well, I think it'll be a little more forwardly placed than the speed map says, but I took number 6, Mark the Moment, with coming on a break from number 10. He ran second last time out. It was his first start in Hong Kong. He had problems at the start. He did get clear with about 100 meters left to go and got caught by the winner. That was a six furlong race, so we got a turn. This time we're going to go straight. Used 4 barrier trials as prep for his first race in Hong Kong, and 3 of them were on the all-weather, and the other one was 1,000 meters on the turf. Well, guess what they're running?
1,000 meters on the turf.
And the turf trial comment was really interesting because it said Greenlee. Well, he's an older horse. I thought that was really interesting comment. But off that last race, a second with problems, I really see improvement, and I think he's well placed for this with this group.
Quick question for you: based upon those other races, when the horses come around that turn, if they hug the rail or they head to the middle of the track, and that's where the winners are found, do you think post positions will matter here?
Not as much. I really think it's getting out of the gate. It's kind of like quarter horse racing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't break well, you can forget it. And I think that's the case a lot of the times here. I think if you got, that's why I'm saying one of those, I think he's going to be more bid pack than they're saying, because based on the way he ran that first race. And then I went back and looked at some of his other races, and that seems to be the case. I'm going to go with that and think that nice burst of speed gets to the winner's circle. Next one is going to be number 5, Metro Warrior, from breaking from post 2. Is my next choice. He ran a 4th at 1,000 meters. It was a little lower class race. And this one used the inside as when he got to that straight, and when he's finally in there, and he switched out. He had to switch out a little bit, but was sort of an even pace at the end. He's had 4 barrier trials. And he's had run them since 7, and they've been, basically he's not finishing up. So why do I put him in here? I think he's going to be more forwardly placed than before. He's done very well at this course overall. Even though he has only 2 wins, he's got 11 placings from 24 starts. So this is my kind of horse that, win, no, but better use them. That's what I'm thinking. And the class rise is a little bit of concern, but it is 1,000 meters and down the straight, and why not? Finally, I'm going to take number 8, Pleasant Endeavor, who's going to break from post 14. This horse is raced at both tracks in Hong Kong. He's done fairly well overall. Record of 20 starts. He's got 4 wins and a placing. But that also reflects his Australian and Hong Kong racing, because on this course at Sha Tin, got 4 starts, 2 wins, and a placing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he likes that. And then it was interesting because they ran him at Happy Valley last time. He got a 4th, sat behind the leaders, and didn't really have the pace to challenge the leaders at the end, is the best way to describe it. I think changing from the quirky Happy Valley race, I don't know if you've ever looked at how their racetrack is. They actually have, it's a 2-turn, or I should say a gradual first turn, then the regular turn at Happy Valley for a 6 furlong race. So it is a little quirky by comparison, and he's done much better racing that straight, and I think that's where he belongs. He sat back farther in his October race and finished very strongly. I think the move up in class, the wide draw doesn't bother me, being out at 14, because it is a straight, and maybe an advantage because there's nobody going to be on one side of you, just on the other. So we'll see.
And much like in quarter horse racing, you got to have that outside horse, even if it looks like crap on paper, because the odds of it getting a clean break are pretty high. I like Mark the Moment too. That's my top choice as well, Thomas. So now we're coming back into alignment again. It had a good work, and then it went to the track and had a very much improved race in that first start off a layoff. So I expect more improvement in this spot. Number 3, Special M. This horse has been working out, hasn't come to the track recently, but when you look at those workouts, they're kind of fast and they're kind of hard to ignore. So I think Special M with some burst out of the gate could be the one that's forwardly placed in there. It might be one that everybody's got to chase down. I like that Pleasant Endeavor as well. You mentioned that Sha Tin record, but those were at the distance too. 4 times he's been at the distance, 2 wins and a second. So the horse clearly likes these short sprints. And then finally, I'm going to go with number 1, California Rad, as my final choice. This guy's getting that 10-pound weight break in here too, Thomas, and these short sprints could be very useful. But it doesn't look like it on paper, but his last race was significantly faster than his previous 6-furlong run. And one of my favorite things to see is a horse whose times are improving. That's absolutely, in my view, an indication of a horse that's getting into shape. Not only is he getting in shape, but he's going to carry 10 less pounds in race number 10. So should be able to carry that speed, that improvement even farther today than he did previously. That brings us to our last race, Thomas. It's the Flame Tree Handicap. And this is what happens to Christmas trees after Christmas is over and you haven't watered them. They become flame trees. It is 1,400 meters on the turf course. Come back over here. Plenty of room to run. Come back down again. I think those horses that can catapult out of the corner there have a good chance to build some momentum, bring it to the winner's circle. And their speed map for this race, they're facing that way again, or that way again. Red Lion is the one that's likely to get on the lead, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of front speed in this one. Most of it in the back here with the 9 horses that'll be chasing those front 5. In setups like this, a lot of times I like horses that are going to be up front, closer to the front, because the pace isn't too fast. It'll be difficult for this group to catch them, Tom.
Maybe, but we'll see. Because
right.
I'm going to take one of the ones going to make his first start at Hong Kong is my top choice, and that's going to be number 2, Straight Aaron, who is post 9. This is the first start. He's been racing at Randwick before. He was in Group 3 company at 2,000 and 1,600 meters, and he won the 1,600 meter race, and he finished 3rd at 2,000 meters. His barrier trials look good, with very positive comments in both of them. He's got a good record. Never been out of the money. He's got 4 starts, 2 wins, and 2 placings. And at this distance, he has a win and a placing. Top Jock is going to take the mount, Zach Putin. And, I'm going to make a comment that generally I do not play horses that are first starting at Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. I like to see them get a race first. But this one kind of sticks out for me. I think they're using this as a prep for bigger things. And that's why I took the horse. Number 6, Red Lion is going to be my next choice from post 7. He had a barrier trial in December, which was okay, and then he won. Then he ran a good second to Happy Valley at the 1,200 meter race, and he had issues in that race. And after that race, they found that he had a wound on his front right leg. So that was pretty good effort to finish second and still be in probably a little pain. And he only lost by a nose. So it's not like he was, second by 5 lengths or whatever. Mm-hmm. Next, he had an 8th with issues. Jockey had to take him back because he had a wide draw. Post makes a difference, doesn't it? And in this case, it definitely did. But today he gets post 7 rather than being out in no man's land. And I think that helps. And the other thing, I just as a note, I saw that as a yearling, they paid 7,000 euros for him. And then 2 years later, his value went up to 240,000 euros. So obviously some form reversal there. Mm-hmm. Because, boy, I'd like to make that kind of profit, even with a horse that's winning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, number 3, A-Pal is going to be my final choice. Going to break from the outside, post 12. Last 3 races have been really good overall. Got a fourth last out. He won, and he got a second. This is a runner who likes to be forwardly placed, and that's where I'm thinking he's going to be. I would be very surprised if he isn't. He had in his last race, he had some issues. Got bumped. He had the lead at 300 meters out, and then got caught at the end. I looked at the race, and I thought the jockey moved maybe slightly early on the horse to put him on the front. I'm going to say a little better tactical speed may result a little better result. Same jockey's going to ride him, and he's been on him a number of times before, so he does know the horse. It's just a matter of can he get him in the right place at the right time, because the form, he's definitely in form.
Mm-hmm. So Charles wants to know from the Wednesdays and Thursday shows in the morning, who's the big win bet of the night for you at Sha Tin?
I'm going to go with California Concord.
California Concord, and that was in race number, I don't remember, 10?
No, it was 9.
Race number 9. All right. Are you familiar, Tom, with because Charles is just, it looks like I've been in Tom's computer again. Are you familiar with Stalter and Waldorf, Tom?
No, I'm not.
You are. You just don't know who they are. You know the two old guys up in the balcony in the Muppets?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's who they are. So that's Charles. And I think that he actually resembles one of them. Let's look and see here. Does this guy not here look just like Charles over here on the right?
Yeah. Could be his twin brother.
Absolutely. Charles is one of the Muppets, and he's in the peanut gallery throwing shots. So way to go. We appreciate that. The input there, Stotler. Instead of, I like that. That worked out pretty well. I was actually shocked when I looked it up to see what he looked like. All right. So for me in this last race at Sha Tin, in the Flame Tree Handicap, I'm going to start off. And, I can't not bet this horse, Thomas, because my dog's name is Peach. It is one of the best dogs I've ever had. The best Peach. And not only is the best Peach have the best record, too. So this horse is 5 times out, 4 wins, no seconds, no thirds, 1 or nothing. And then when you look at the horse's record coming off the bench, so the horse has been on the sidelines for a little bit. It won its debut, so that's obviously the longest it's been on the bench. And then it took some time off after a couple races and came back and won again. So horse to me that looks like it runs well, fresh, and it's even better that it's named after my wonderful dog. I like the Apal as well as my second choice in here. It's a horse that is a consistent performer, which is what I like about this horse. Is not a lot of up and down. It's got a high floor, low ceiling. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to have to beat this horse. It's not going to lay down for you. It's done well at the distance, 7 times out, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Number 5 is my next choice. Good Buddy. Good Buddy. You can see on the form here looking a little bit better. This one ran a mile last time out, was close to the front in that mile, and then kind of faded at the end. So I think the cut back in distance today is going to support the case for Good Buddy to have a good showing and win, maybe not. If that speed can hold on, have a good shot at it. And then finally, my bomb for the day is number 11, Lucky Fun. And if this one does hit, it'll be a lot of fun and probably a twinge of luck as well for Lucky Fun. But if you look at this horse, it's kind of out of form. It does have some back class. Then it had a workout. That workout is pretty nice. And then on top of that, it's going to go at a distance that it's run at 3 times and finished second in 2 of those. So you get a little bit better practice, a distance that it likes. And I think it's like 79 to 1 morning line. So if this one comes home, you're going to get paid to start off the new year. It's a whole new
January. You definitely get paid.
Indeed. And Charles apparently agrees with my assessment. He says I'm killing him. So yes, indeed, I am killing you. That is Charles and 100% for sure. And that last race there, 11 a.m. Race 11 is going to go off at 4:45 a.m. That'll be the time Charles gets up for the 4th time to head to the washroom. All right, old man. So just in time to watch that race there, Charles. All right. Right now he's in tears laughing, I'm sure of it. All right. Any final thoughts before we get up and out of here for the new year?
Anything from the professor? Was the bull?
Oh, yes. The picks from the professor, indeed. Well, tomorrow, Saturday, is one of the biggest weekends in college football. So the professor, and there's a link in the description down below. the professor will indeed have all of his thoughts on the college bowls, those Final Four, who he likes. So head on over to that. There's a link in the description below. Also, if you like what this gear, this horse racing today gear, it's held up pretty well. It's like a year old. It still looks about the same as it did when we first bought it. Please, there's a link down below. Head on over there.
He hasn't washed it, though.
Yeah, well, that's why I sit in the room by myself. No one wants to be around me. Even the dog, that perfect peach, the best peach, don't want to come around me. But you can see here, you can get all of them. They are made after the horse colors, as you see, as the horses run around the race. So you can't find that anywhere else. So please make sure you help support the show and do that. All right, Tom, that kind of covers everything. I'll be back with Terry on Monday at Parks, provided they fix the track, because they canceled it.
Yeah, they got a mess. They got a mess, without question. And we should point out that we're going to be switching gears. We'll do before I go on a little hiatus. We will be doing Maydam.
Good,
because there's racing now will be on Sunday instead of Thursday or Friday, and certainly need to start looking at that, because in March we get the Dubai World Cup. And I would guess there are going to be a few race horses from here going over there for that kind of money.
Yes, I recall Country Grammar went over there last year for a big check. So
we
actually have that one.
Rich Strike is supposed to being prepped for that Dubai race.
And that might work out for him over there too, because it's a little bit heavier, heavier going over there with that sandy dirt course. Indeed. I will be back again tomorrow with Charles at 10:30 a.m. East Central, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to run through the entire Gulfstream card like we always do. Great statistics, great facts, and hopefully great picks. Again, Terry and I will come back on Monday and Tuesday. Charles will join me on Wednesday for Gulfstream again. Thursday, we'll go back to Aqueduct. And on Monday, in the beginning of the new year, I think it's Jamie and Sean, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be Jamie, Sean and Julie. They're going to get together for Horse Center again after a brief respite to enjoy the holiday week until we get together again, whether we're at Gulfstream Park tomorrow, betting on those big college football games, just sitting back, enjoying 2023's end, 2022's end, and looking forward to 2023.
You're a little early.
A little old. I'm the other guy in the balcony with Charles, and able to remember for moments.
We'll have to get a picture and put your faces in there.
Yeah, at least Charles is. You don't have to change Charles's at all. It looks just like him. All right, folks. No matter what it is you're doing, we hope it ends up in one place, Thomas, and that can only be.
There's only one place, but the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend.